Cindy Ola with Sacred Garden Yoga. Today is Friday. I'm recording this on October the 8th, 2021. And it's no coincidence either that Friday is the day of the goddess. It's Venus's day. You know that the days of the week are named after the seven main planetary influences. You got Sunday, which is named after the sun. Monday, after the moon. You got Tuesday, Martes, which is named after Mars. Wednesday, Miércoles, which is Mercury's day. Thursday, Jueves, is Jupiter's day. I love working with Jupiter. Then we got Friday, Viernes, which is Venus's day. And then Saturday, of course, it's Saturn's day. And so it's always a good day to get on here on the day of the goddess to talk about things that have to do with the sacred feminine. So there are three things that I wanted to talk to you about today. One is just to introduce myself more, because I know that I'm newer to this platform. I've had the studio now for almost 19 years, but to some of you in this YouTube world, you don't know me very well. So I wanted to, just talk about my beliefs, and also to diffuse the word witch, especially here that we're in October, and the word witch gets thrown around a lot, and I think it's a misconception about how we feel about the word witch. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit, and then also just the message that I've been receiving lately this week. And so starting off, about me and my personal beliefs, I'm a mix, just like a mishmash of all different belief systems. I grew up Catholic. I practiced the Catholicism because that's the way I was raised. A lot of my family, they're devout Catholics. I'm Peruvian, so the Latinas are really, some of them are really, they love their Catholicism. So I grew up that way, received like my confirmations and my communion and all that stuff. And eventually I stepped away from the church, even though I came back later in life, more with the New Thought Christianity, because I also do have a love for Christ and his teachings. And, I really consider him just a super master teacher that changed this world. So the Christ consciousness has a powerful and strong influence over my belief system. But then, of course, I continue to want to expand and learn and grow more. I love philosophy. If I have an addiction to anything, it's learning about different philosophies and religions, even learning about science. I was a biology major in college, a psychology minor. Anything that helps to inform us about how we tick, what makes our heart and our spirit soar, just any information or explanation about the way our bodies work, and then how we relate to the world, to the universe, and to others. Anything that has to do with that is a fascination of mine. So I study it a lot. So anyways, after college, I shifted over to Eastern philosophy. I got into yoga, and also explored things like Buddhism. And the thing about the philosophies of yoga is the way it influences our mind. It's very much a practice of learning how to understand it and control your mind, and how your thoughts are such a powerful force for everything else that you experience and how you feel. Plus the influence of the body. It's the mind-body-heart connection, or the mind-body-soul connection, that we learn through the practice of yoga, which has strongly influenced me as well. So I love Eastern philosophy. I love the Christ teachings. As I said, I'm from Peru, and I had one of those DNA tests done, and I'm about 40 to 45% indigenous in my bloodline, as far as like the indigenous Americas go, especially South America, the Andean indigenous people. And so that teaching, the love for nature and our communion for nature, that shamanic teaching, that is literally in my bones. So I explored the shamanic traditions a lot. I've also explored all sorts of energy healing, which is, where I've developed my skill to help people in their healings through working through the energetic body. I have a love even for the Western esoteric magic, the old religions before any of the Abrahamic religions came in, at least, especially with Christianity, because I know some of the other Abrahamic religions like Judaism and all that existed long before Christianity did. But the old pagan traditions that are also very nature and shamanic in their beliefs, and it's all about just having a strong relationship with the forces of nature and with the cosmic forces as well, which is a great segue into what I wanted to talk about next, and that is this idea of the word witch. And to some people, that word will make you cringe. It's because we've been socially conditioned to like fear the witches or think of the witches as evil or devil worshippers, not just by some of the dogmatic religions, but also through Hollywood. If you think of all the movies that have been made about the witches, they're always doing something to call up and summon up the evil forces or the demons that then come in and possess us. So this wrong or this very one-sided idea of what the word witch means. Now, there are some witches or some practitioners of magic and ritual and ceremony who lean more toward the dark arts, but then there are several, I consider myself as at least part witch. I would have definitely been burned and persecuted at the stake way back when, just from my practices of energy healing. I would have definitely been considered a witch, or even in my shamanic healings back in the day. But anyways, this very one-sided idea of what witch means and how we've been so socially programmed to fear the witches and to even fear the part of us that feels intuitive, or that feels that connection with nature, or that feels like there's something bigger out there within the world, within nature, within the galaxies that we're strongly connected to. Because in essence, that's all really a witch is. My personal definition of a witch is someone who has a strong relationship with the forces of nature and uses those relationships to enhance their living, or to enhance their lives. And the shamans are the same, just from a different tradition. And they're also highly trained to help people and to heal people. The witch's dictum, I'm sure you've probably heard this before, is as above, so below. And in essence, what that means is that the elemental and cosmic forces, that they're not just a reflection, but they are also us. They are a part of us. Thus, we can connect with them to empower us. In other words, we have fire inside of us, we have earth, we have water, we have air inside of us, and it's the like the fire within us that connects with the fire outside, the earth within us that connects with the earth outside, and this is how we use the connections to enrich our lives. So anyways, back when all these other different dogmatic faiths and beliefs started to rise, the witch didn't fit within the narrative that they were trying to put into the masses, because in essence, the teachings of the witch is also the teachings, or a lot of the teachings of the witch, or those indigenous or those old cultures, was the teachings of the sacred feminine, which is that you are empowered yourself and that you don't have to look outside of yourself for salvation. And that idea in itself was threatening to the rising of these other belief systems that really wanted to control you. They wanted control. They wanted control over people. And any practices that empowered you personally In other words, you didn't need the priest, or you didn't need the preacher, or you didn't need the reverend, or you didn't need to feel like you were sinful, or that you had to go through these rituals in order for you not to go to hell. Like all these fear-based ideologies that were used for control. And the old indigenous, the old, what you I guess you could call them religions, did not believe this. You know, you made the connections yourself personally with the higher beings, or the other side, the ascended masters, the higher beings of light, that you can make those connections personally with yourself. Not only that, but you had all that wisdom and information inside of you as well. The practice acknowledges the feminine arts. And again, the teachings of the feminine arts and the sacred feminine is that of you being empowered, and that this beautiful body vessel of yours, it's not sinful, it's not terrible, you're not born in sin, you're actually born good, and that we use our body to ascend. It's not something that we need to transcend. Do you see what I mean? So the body is not this evil thing. Our humanity is not an evil force. Our humanity is just simply our humanity. And the sacred feminine teaches that your humanity is a part of your wholeness, and the sacred marriage of bringing together your humanity with your divinity, loving your humanity and everything that it's capable of, that's what elevates you and enlightens you, right? But these are the arts, though, that empower you. They're the ones that teach you how to trust yourself, and to teach you that you have wisdom, you have knowledge, you are the divine itself. The divine is inside of you. You have all the wisdom and information that you need. You are an actual fractal of the universe. What that means is that you are a piece of the whole. You're not a fraction of the universe. You are a fractal of the universe. You are a piece of the whole. Therefore, you contain within you all the wisdom, power, and information that you need. Again, that's the teachings of the sacred feminine. And again, that did not feed within the narrative of what they were trying to tell you, these other dogmatic beliefs and beliefs that began to surface that wanted control. It didn't fit because an empowered person is much harder to control, right? So let's disempower humanity. They're much easier to control, and then we can decide what kind of narrative we want to feed them, and we'll navigate that narrative through fear. So let's burn them all instead. Let's burn the witches. Let's get rid of them. Let's get rid of this sacred feminine teaching of self-empowerment, and let's instead teach fear, and that you had to do all these other things outside of you for you to find your salvation. So we were all conditioned highly to fear the witches. So I'm here to try to liberate some of those teachings and try to dismantle the triggers around the word witch, because as we're stepping into this new age and this new era, I really feel that it's about inclusivity, about us being able to live with each other in all the different paths, because as I said, I'm a lover of all paths. And I don't necessarily think that there's one that's better than the other, as long as you're not harming others or harming other beings. You know, take whatever path that you need to take that's going to heal you, to empower you, to make you feel like you are a good person, because that's what you are, and that that you can make a difference in the world. You choose whatever path. I love all the paths. And for us to be able to coexist with all our different beliefs, I think that's part of the evolution of humanity itself. And I feel like that's something that I want to create space for, especially within the space of Sacred Garden Yoga. I encourage everyone to come in, no matter what your belief system is. We will embrace you, whether witch, whether Christian, whether again pagan, whether Jewish, it doesn't matter. That's up to you. That's a personal decision, but it's time that we step into this space of integrity and inclusivity, so that we can again ascend and grow as a collective, instead of being so divided all the time. And then the last piece of information, and this is just the message that has been coming through very strongly within the past couple of days, is to not let what's going on in the world to harden you, or to harden your heart. In the yoga practice, the physical yoga practice, one of the things that we often talk about is how in your anatomy, when you're taking these actual physical shapes and forms, there needs to be one part of your body which is really strong, so that the other part of your body can be soft and open. And our bodies can sometimes get totally confused about what parts of us need to be like strong and what parts of us need to soften. Sometimes we put this protective body armor, especially around our hearts, this way, so we create this hardness in our hearts, instead of creating a strength in your back. See, for your body to open, for your mind to open, for your heart to open, there needs to be a part of you that feels safe, that feels strong, and that feels empowered. However, we need to make sure that we're bringing the strength and that power and that sense of, I don't want to say hardness, but just like that sense of, sense of like, yes, I've got this. We need to bring that into the right places in our bodies and in our minds, so that the other part of us can open and be more vulnerable. So, for example, let's say you want to open up your chest. You want to take off this body armor of your heart. You want to open up your heart so that you're expanded this way. You want to open up your throat. You want to throw off that body armor that you've been putting on for all this time. Strengthen your back, right? Feel like you have your own back. Feel the muscles of the back coming in towards your spine. Feel the strength in the back body. Your heart relies on that strength, and that it can open. Your heart space, then it can be more vulnerable. That's why we say vulnerability requires a tremendous amount of strength. So strengthen your back so that you can be open and receptive in your heart. Don't let these times harden. Easy right now to get caught up in the anger and all the hate and in all of the judgment that's going on right now, and then just to be angry and to harden. Let this be an opportunity for you to move deeper in, and to know what your true expression of your highest self is. And don't let anybody diminish that. I spent so much of my time and my journey feeling ashamed or alienated, like ashamed of who I am, or alienated, feeling alone, because I don't really fit in a box. I mean, you can't put me in one box of this faith or this religion, or you can't put me in a political box. I don't do well in the boxes. The word that has always inspired me is freedom. just freedom to be who I am and to express my voice and to show up here no matter what anybody else is going to think. And I encourage you to do the same, to not feel shackled or bonded by your shame or being afraid of what other people are going to think, and to come out and to be yourself and to ask the bigger questions about what makes you happy, what does your heart say, what's going to make you grow, what's the contribution that you want to make to this planet. Because you can't make that contribution until you really connect with who you are and what you want. And just like, again, like, really, who are you? What makes you thrive? And whatever that is, I want to support you, or I want to provide a space to support you in that, and not to guilt you or to shame you in saying that you shouldn't believe that, you need to believe this. Because there's only one path, and that path is mine. That's not the message. I don't think that's serving anybody these days. Okay, so open your heart. Don't let this world harden you. Soften, take in, be open, be compassionate, be gracious, be helpful, be nurturing. Set boundaries, of course. Set boundaries for yourself, but like, maybe if you feel yourself hardening, ask different questions, like, how can I serve? What can I do? What is this trying to teach? What are these experiences trying to teach me about myself? What is it bringing up as triggers that need to be healed and released, and so on? So anyways, that is what I wanted to share with you today. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you soon. Bye.